What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Shot Clock Scribbles. I am your host, Tendai. I am back this week, guys, after taking last week off, much needed, but I am back ready to kill. I have an exciting episode for you guys today. I'll be diving into the Olympics that have been going on lately in Paris, breaking down and rating all the offseason moves for the Sacramento Kings right here in the capital. We'll also briefly touch on the free agent class of 2025, give our predictions on the over and under total team wins for next season, and share some insights about an event I'll be attending in Oakland on Friday. Stay tuned and let's get started. Next thing I wanted to talk about is the Olympics in Paris. Let's take a look at where we are in the standings. France beat Canada yesterday, 82-73. Germany beat Greece, 76-63. The U.S. national team rolled by Brazil, 112-87. And Serbia had a 24 comeback win against Australia, 95-90. So as far as what we're looking at moving forward here, France faces Germany tomorrow. USA takes on the Serbian national team. This would be the toughest test for the US, in my opinion. If they do move on to the gold match, I think that will be more easier than this game that's coming up tomorrow. So let's bring out the popcorn because this one should be pretty interesting. I'll be talking more about this in just a moment. The finals will be taking place on Saturday, third place game as well on Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern time. The third place game would take place at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. I wanted to jump into numbers because, hey, at Shot Clock Studios, we love numbers over here. Box score for the games that went on yesterday. The Joker had 21 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, very close to a triple-double. And combined steals and block, he had 6 in the win against Australia. Next is a pair of Frenchmen on this list. Cabusele and Cordinier had a combined 42 points, true shooting percentage of 85%, 6 out of 9 from 3, and 12 out of 13 from the free throw line in the win against Canada. The next duo is AD and JoJo, combined for 27 points, 15 rebounds, true shooting percentage of 83% in 28 minutes against their win against Brazil. Next is Patty Mills, most likely his last game in the Olympics, 26 points, 2 steals, 50% from the floor against Serbia. Last is these two fellas here, Dylan Brooks and Jamal Murray, combined for 9 points, which I did not see coming, to be honest, but Jamal doesn't look right. More on Team Canada in just a moment. But those guys were 18% from the field, 422. It's absolutely trash. Assist turnover ratio was 2-5 in 45 minutes of play against the France national team yesterday. Next thing I wanted to talk about is Team USA and my thoughts on how they've been so far in these Olympics. To be honest, I think it's been a cakewalk for them so far. They haven't really been tested so far until tomorrow when they take on the Serbian national team, who have gotten beaten twice in a row. So they'll be looking for some revenge there. But honestly, as a collective effort, the US looks great out there. The bench is even coming in and contributing. A lot of these guys are used to getting a lot of minutes and being that top player on their team. But yeah, when you come to the Team USA, you got to put your ego aside and play ball. So this should be a pretty interesting game. The blew by Brazil, wasn't even close. Yesterday, I'll be talking about numbers in that game in just a moment here. But I ended up turning it off at halftime because I was like, all right, I've seen enough. They ended up blowing them out. I went back to see some highlights on the second half, but they just steamed right by them. So yesterday's game, Devin Booker led Team USA with 18 points, 6 out of 9 from the field, and 1 lone free throw. For Brazil, it was their big man. The forward was 13 out of 20 from the field and 2 out of 3 from the free throw line with 30 points. Quick stats here. Team USA shot 57.7% from the field to Brazil's 41.6%. From the 3-ball, 48% for the US, 32 for Brazil. Turnovers, Brazil committed a lot more turnovers than the US, 15-11 in that department. The US was heavy on the boards, 46-34. Anthony Edwards shot the ball very good, coming off the bench, 17 points, 60% from the field. JoJo, the big man, must be hearing it from the crowd all the time, hearing those boos that he should have been playing on the French national team. But hey, that's what happens when you have multiple passports. You got options, and why not play for the best team in the world, in my opinion? They finished the game very efficient, 5 out of 6 from the field and 3 out of 3 from the 3-ball. So pretty good numbers there for JoJo. You know what? Like Steph and LeBron didn't light it up with points in this game on the stat sheet, but look for that to come alive come next game against Serbia for sure. Now we're going to switch gears and talk about the Serbian national team because these guys are coming off a fresh 24-point comeback from this game against Australia. They really deserve a round of applause. They were down by 12 at halftime, and now they earned that right to have the largest comeback ever in the Olympic history. Let's look at quick numbers for this Serbian national team. The Joker played almost 40 minutes, and he had 21 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, a near triple-double, and 4 steals. We just spoke about him at the very top of this list here. Bogey is the second guy that would do it for this team behind the Joker. He had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 out of 17 from the field. So did not shoot the ball very great. He'll be looking for a comeback against Team USA, looking to light them up. And he was 3 out of 8 from the 3. So he was efficient more so on the 3 than the 2-point conversions that he had. And he was perfect from the line, 2 out of 2 in that department. He's a direct quote from Steve Kerr after the game yesterday against Brazil. Quote, "We can't get Luke to sleep because we beat them twice," he said. "Does Jokic play 40 minutes? What else do they have up their sleeves? We have to be prepared for anything," close quote. So in this game tomorrow, I honestly look for the U.S. national team to send a lot of blitz at the Joker, make him cough up the ball, make somebody else make shots other than him. Of course, the Joker is going to do it all. He's going to score, he's going to rebound, he's going to assist. All 3 levels of the game. He's very efficient when he gets on that floor. And honestly, the big men on the U.S. national team have a little bit of revenge for him. Let's talk about a couple guys here. So he sent AD packing in these last 2 playoffs. He bounced Bam in the finals, and he's 3-1 against JoJo. We all remember that game last season that JoJo was basically forced to play against Denver in Denver, and Coach Michael Malone was bitching and moaning about not getting the availability, that he wouldn't be playing before the game and all that. But hey, these guys are going to be looking for some revenge against the Joker because he's made them play a lot of times during their NBA season. Let's take a look at the Australian national team's box score real quick. Josh Giddey with 25 points, 5 rebounds on 55% shooting from the field, 3 out of 5 from the 3 ball. Patty Mills, most likely his last game in the Olympics, finished this game up with a team high 26 points, 50% from the field, and 40% from 3. We're going to switch gears now and talk about the Canadian national team because they got upset yesterday by the French. Honestly, they were lacking a lot of size, and it was very telling because they couldn't get some boards towards the end of the game. And we all know that France is big, and they just kept on getting offensive rebounds to end that game off. And it really shows you, like, hey, Canada was really heavy on the guards. Jamal Murray doesn't even look like himself. And if you're the Nuggets, you ought to be worried because he performed really poor in this Olympics. And he's a free agent coming up next summer. So it's interesting to see what the Nuggets are going to do with him. Next, we're going to switch gears and speak about the French national team. Yabusele, the big man with a strong game, the 6'8" power forward who plays his ball at Real Madrid in the capital of Spain, had a few muscle flexes in addition to his 22 points on 66% shooting from the field. Really played bullet ball in that painted area alone. He was 80%. Pretty efficient game for him. And he was really showing them, okay, Canada, you guys don't have a lot of size. I'll make you guys pay. Evan Fournier closed this game out with a dagger, late 3 in the shot clock. Wemby coughs up the ball to him, not realizing that the shot clock is about to expire. Gives it to Fournier and hits the 3 from way deep. Crowd goes crazy. It was a perfect tail ending for this game for Evan because we all know he's a free agent. And let's see if he gets picked up before the start of the season. And the Knicks ghosted him and showed him the door. So let's see what happens with him. He was 50% from the field and from the 3, pouring in 15 points, 3 assists, and 1 rebound. On the other hand, Victor Wembanyama was absolutely trash for them in this game. 7 points, shot 2 out of 10 from the field, missed all of his 3-pointers. That's 6 total. But he did pick up 12 rebounds, 2 of those being offensive. He's going to have to show up in the next game. There was a big talk about Rudy. Rudy ended up getting surgery or getting some MRI, something like that after the game, per Sam and Nick right out of here in Sacramento. So let's see if Rudy takes part in the next game tomorrow. Next, I wanted to give you guys my predictions of these quarterfinals and semifinals. When I look at the bracket and it's right in front of me, I had the US winning, which I got right. And then I had Serbia winning. They ended up coming back from a 24 comeback. So I was right on that side of the bracket. On the other side of the bracket, I was right on Germany beating Greece. But the lone one that I got wrong here was I had Canada beating France. Of course, we all know that France ended up winning the game. So it sets it for a showdown for France versus Germany, who I think will win that one. I think Germany will end up going to the gold medal game against the US. That is my prediction. But I wanted to ask you guys, who do you guys think is going to be in the gold medal match? Put your comments below so that I can see what you guys got to say about that one. I want to quickly pivot now and speak about free agents in the year of 2025. That's next season. Speak about a couple players that are notable to mention of next year's free agent class. First up, according to Woj, Markkanen has recently signed a 5-year, $238 million contract negotiation, an extension with the Jazz. The deal adds another 4 years and $196 to his contract, which was entering its final season. Basically, what they're doing here is making it very hard for any teams to go after him. He cannot get traded after 6 months of time till the trade deadline in the winter. There's been a lot of talk about the Warriors not wanting to give up a lot of their assets, the Kings not wanting to give up a lot of assets. It's a way for Danny Ainge to sniff out the competition to see if anybody is actually willing to give up a lot of their assets for Lowry. And this just means that he's going to be with the Utah Jazz for this foreseeable future. I think it's a good plan. It's a good deal. I don't see a lot of teams coughing up a lot of their swaps or their draft picks in the future for Lowry at this moment. A couple key players to watch in next year's free agency. Jimmy Butler with the Miami Heat. He's a unrestricted free agent with a player option of next season. Aaron Gordon out there in Denver is also a unrestricted free agent and has a player option for next season. It's interesting to see what Calvin Booth, the GM, does over there with Aaron, because he's a vital piece of that Denver Nuggets team. Honestly, I don't think they win a championship without AG in that lineup. He's that important to that ball team there in Denver. The next guy is BI. That's Brandon Ingram with the Pelicans. He hasn't got picked up yet. And if you're the New Orleans Pelicans, you're most likely getting nothing for him unless you get rid of him this summer, which I don't know if there's been a lot of interest in BI with a lot of teams. But he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, extension eligible moving forward. Next guy on the list is Kyrie Irving with the Dallas Mavericks. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent with a player option. I think he stays put in Dallas unless something goes totally haywire with him and the relationship with Luka. I think he stays. Next guy is JK, Jonathan Kuminga in the Golden State right here. GSW up there in Frisco. He's going to be a restricted free agent. It looks like the Warriors did not want to get rid of him this past offseason. And that's a good thing. You want to keep him. It's said that they value Brendan Podemski a lot higher than JK, which is a little bit crazy in my honest opinion, especially in the West, where long athletic wings are the thing that you need on every single ball club. But it is what it is. I think you need to pay him up come next season. Otherwise, another team is going to sniff up and pick him up. Last two guys here, very vital to that Houston team, is Jalen Green and Alprin Sengun. AP and Jalen are going to be restricted free agents come next season, and they'll be looking for a payday if the Rockets don't want to pay both of these guys. I don't know if they keep one of them or just keep both of them, because it's going to start adding up to that heavy payroll. Let's see what Houston does with these two pivotal players for them. In this part of the pod, I'll briefly be talking about things that are circulating in the NBA, sir. First things first, I wanted to speak about Charles Barkley wanting to keep his TNT contract. He had that $210 million contract with TNT over 10 years. It looks like he's going to fulfill his duties. Charles Barkley was very adamant that this new Amazon deal was not good for the NBA, true fan. And he does have a point. I did mention that in my last pod. It's funny how the next day after I finished that pod, the news came out that Amazon has reached a deal with the NBA. Funny. But that's how it goes sometimes. He's not retiring anytime soon. It looks like it was just a throwaway shot to see what companies might offer him if he was not going to retire. Smart move on his side, and I believe a good way to try to get some more dollars out of these companies. And yeah, he'll be with TNT. He'll be still there this upcoming season as well. Next up is Kevin Durant. He is now the USA Olympic all-time scorer for Team USA. He had 12 points last game yesterday to get him over that hump, and a lot of congratulations going over to him. Slim is one of the best pure scorers that the NBA game or the basketball world has ever seen. He gets his own quick 15-minute commercial by Nike. Maybe it was all strategic to have him in his own commercial instead of the other one that came out, the other one, where he was protesting, hey, I'm not good enough. What's going on? Which in my eyes, like, I could see him being frustrated in not being in that commercial, especially around the Olympic time where he knew he was about to surpass this feat that he just had yesterday. And he's not done yet. They got a couple more games until they actually get the gold game, Serbia tomorrow. Next up here is the Knicks up in New York. They recently announced that Jalen Brunson will be the 36th captain in Knicks franchise history, the first since 2018-19 season. I guess this is what happens when you leave several $1 million on the table. Well, kind of a sidebar there. Jalen left a lot of fucking money on the table. I don't know if I would have done that. Carmelo had his 2 cents. We all know Carmelo took every single penny that he could have in his NBA career. And with the Knicks, I just don't know, because you know what? A lot of these teams are looking out for the best interests of themselves. And Draymond talked about it on his pod too, about foregoing that extra $80 million. Just take what you have right now. Hey, you could recoup that later down the line, but ain't no need to really take any chances, which I understand. But in this climate of where teams are so greedy and all that, I would have just taken the money. But I applaud JB's thoughts on shaving down some money to make this team better. These guys have a heavy payroll there in New York. So kudos to him for being the first captain in several years for this Knicks team. Everybody loves him in New York. He's become a real big star there in New York. We all know that the lights are very bright in that city. Knicks fans are absolutely crazy about their players, and this is a big feat in his career. In this part of the pod, I'll be speaking about the Sacramento Kings and their offseason moves and giving each one a grade. But first, let's go through those moves that they had this offseason so far. At the very top, July 9th, Jordan McLaughlin with the Minnesota Timberwolves signed a 1-year deal with the Kings, signed as a free agent. July 9th as well, it was made official. Devin Carter signed as draft pick rookie scale contract. The shooting guard is out for the first 6 months or so of this season with a shoulder injury. It was official on the 9th as well. Alex Len, the center, re-signed with the Sacramento Kings. July 8th, before that, DeMar DeRozan was traded to the Sacramento Kings. July 6th, Malik Monk re-signed with the Sacramento Kings, really fending off anybody that might be interested in him in this offseason. Next, on June 29th, Jalen McDaniels with the Toronto Raptors was traded for Mitchell and Vezekov. June 27th, Isaac Jones, the power forward out of Louisiana Tech, signed a 2-way contract with the Sacramento Kings. So let's speak about each single one of these guys and give them a letter grade. Let's start at the very top, as we always do. Devin Carter was the 13th draft pick with the Sacramento Kings. I give this one a B-. I think he's a big upgrade from Davion Mitchell. He's ready to play as soon as he comes back from injury, most likely around January, February, as far as a timeline. You would have hoped he would have been here for the whole season, but he did go to the summer league. He's been there with the team. He's talking, he's getting the feel for the NBA atmosphere right now in the offseason. The next guy is Alex Len. I give this one a C+ because he's already familiar with the team and the offense. He knows his role. He knows what he needs to do night in and night out. He's not going to give you a lot of buckets. He's in there to run that floor, get those easy buckets, protect the rim. The Kings were around mid-table last season on defense at 14th. They need to get better in that department. I think it's a good move. He won't really give you very meaningful minutes in the playoffs, but he's a safe pick to re-sign and stay in Sacramento on that 1 year, $3 million deal. The next guy is DeMar DeRozan. I give this one a B, a solid B. Debo is climbing up in age, but we all know he's still a killer. He's going to get you buckets, and a lot of questions about his defense, but I think he'll be just fine with this Sacramento Kings team. He's also a really good playmaker, as I've talked about in the past. And one thing about Debo is he's really consistent. The Kings were really lacking in that department in being consistent throughout the season. So he will help them out in that aspect of the game. The next guy is Malik Monk. Money Making Monk. I give this one an A+. It was well deserved. And it's amazing that he was able to get this done before the free agency actually started. Big win for Sacramento, win for everybody all around, and excited for him to come back from his injury that he suffered last season. The next guy on the list is Jalen McDaniels. I give this one a B-. He's a long athletic wing. I think he also helped the rotation behind Debo at the small forward position. That second unit is going to be gunning and running up and down that floor. He's still a young fella with the Sacramento Kings. I think he'll help him out in that department of swinging back and forth. Next guy on the list is Isaac Jones. I give this one a B. He'll most likely be on the G League team for the Stockton Kings for most of the season. He'll only really play maybe players get injured and they need to fill some more bodies and get a couple minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes. He's still a young fella out of Louisiana Tech. I did see him this summer at the California Classic, and he looks real solid out there. A lot of potential there. So I think that's the biggest thing with him, is there's still a lot of potential with Isaac here. And sticking with the Sacramento Kings, I wanted to speak about their depth chart right now as it stands. Let's look at the projected starting lineup right now. Fox, Herter, DeMar, Keegan, and Domas at the 5. The second unit will most likely be Devin Carter, Malik Monk, Jalen McDaniels, Trey Lyles, and Alex Len. The third unit will most likely be Jordan McLaughlin, Keon Ellis, Malik, DeMar, and Trey at the 5. That's when they want to do a little bit of maybe some small ball lineups as needed. The fourth unit here, Keon Ellis running at the PG, Devin Carter at the 2, Kobe Jones at the 3, Jalen McDaniels at the 4, and Orlando Robinson, which I haven't even spoken about. I think that one's going to be a real good addition. I didn't speak about him earlier. My bad. I give the Kings a C+. I haven't watched too many of his games, I'll be completely honest with you guys. Watched some highlights here and there, but I haven't sat there and looked at hella footage of him. He's a long dude, which yes, is going to be needed, and he can get you easy buckets. And hey, Kings need rim protection. I keep talking about it. And yeah, I give that one an AC+. The fifth unit would be having Malik run the point, which he does so good. And then Kobe at the 2, Herter at the 3, Domas at the 4, and Isaac Jones at the 5. So that could be the projected depth chart with the Sacramento Kings right now as it stands. In this part of the pod, I'll be speaking about a couple teams on the 2024-25 win total betting odds, over or under. First team here is they have the Warriors under 43.5. I would go over on that. So when I say that, I believe they're going to win more than 43.5 games. If you guys are going to be doing any betting, I would take the over. I think this season they will be much better. They got better in the offseason. They got deeper. Dre and Steph are still getting up there in age, but with this roster and how it's constructed, it's a lot better than last season. So I would put my money on it that the Warriors go over on this one. The next team is the Houston Rockets. They have them at 42.5. I would take the over on this. They sniffed the play-in barely at the very end. If AP was healthy towards the end of the season, I think they had a good chance of sneaking in there, but Golden State got up in there before they did. Steven Adams, he's averaged 9 and 8 throughout his career, and he's been injured for the last 2 seasons. It remains to be seen what his role will be for this upcoming season. I predict to be backing up AP at that center position. Next is the Sacramento Kings. They have him at 46.5 wins. I would take the over on this one as well. Kings were supposed to be trending in an upward trajectory after missing the playoffs for 16 years. The other season, the expectation was high this past season, and they didn't deliver, as I spoke with Deuce on a few podcasts ago. But that's the thing with the NBA, a lot of ups and downs. Expectation was high. They didn't deliver this past season. They got bounced out of the play-in against New Orleans Pelicans, who beat them 6 times in a row. But I think this upcoming season, they go further than they ever have. They surpass 48 wins at least. That would be my bet in this upcoming season. I think they have a better rotation in their players this upcoming season for Mike Brown to choose from. Next is the New York Knicks. They have them projected at 52.5. You guys are starting to get a theme. I would go over on this. I think they're going to definitely win 53 games at least. They had a great regular season and was very exciting to watch them in the playoffs after getting bounced out by the Pacers. Pretty exciting matchup there, but having Julius Randle fully healthy again, fingers crossed that he stays healthy. Hopefully having Julius Randle back helps their chances. If he can stay fully healthy, this team has a good chance of contending with the Boston Celtics. So let's see how that goes next season. So those are my predictions. That's just kind of what stood out to me when I looked at the list. I'm sure there's others, but those are the ones that I wanted to mention off the bat. Next up, I wanted to tell you guys a event I'll be attending this Friday. That's the Hall of Fame Sneaker Ball Basketball Edition, where they'll be honoring Jason Kidd, Jaylen Brown, Gary Payton, Ryan Shaw, Antonio Davis, Isaiah Ryder, and a few other folks. It'll be at the California Ballroom on 1736 Franklin Street in Oakland, California from 6 to 10 p.m. Tickets are on sale. firstfriday.com. If you guys are in the area and interested in watching these guys get inducted into the Hall of Fame of Oakland, hit the event up. I'll be there trying to push the product and promote as much as possible. I'll get back to you guys on how this all went. These guys are all great players in the NBA, and it's going to be good to see these guys get inducted. Maybe I get a couple interviews for you guys here and there. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe some pictures. We shall see how that all goes, but I'll report back to you guys when I get back. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Shot Clock Scribbles podcast in its entirety. I truly appreciate your support. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on all the platforms where you listen to audio. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, you name it. Check me out. Shot Clock Scribbles. I'm out here in Sacramento doing my thing. I appreciate you guys supporting me 1000%. Continue to do so. Please share this with your friends. Word of mouth is the fastest to travel. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next 25th episode.